My name is Layla, and I'm 37 years old. As a homemaker, I've been married to Jimmy for 13 years now. Our family of four includes our daughter Karen and my mother-in-law. A few years ago, after my father-in-law passed away, we moved into my mother-in-law's home. Living with her wasn't exactly peaceful. Soon after we settled in, she started to nitpick everything I did. Is dinner ready? Yes, it'll be done soon. How long are you going to keep us waiting? As I cooked, she hovered in the kitchen, tasting the food. Layla, this pot roast lacks flavor. It's not good. I thought I seasoned it well. If you tasted it, how could it turn out like this? You're really not good at cooking. Jimmy and Karen must be disappointed. I'm sorry. Jimmy must find it hard having such a useless wife. Please help me set the table. Her complaints never stopped, yet she never offered to help with dinner or any household chores, lounging around all day. Dinner's served, everyone. As we sat down to eat, Jimmy and Karen praised the pot roast that earlier received criticism. This is delicious, Mom. Yeah, Mom, it's really good. Then my mother-in-law chimed in, yes, indeed. The seasoning is perfect. Despite her constant criticism and demands, she always spoke kindly to Jimmy and Karen, not wanting to sour their relationship. Layla is a great cook. Thank you. Sometimes, in front of Jimmy and Karen, she would praise me. Layla did all the housework today considering my health. She's such a capable wife, isn't she, Layla? In reality, my mother-in-law had simply dumped all the household chores on me. Oh no. As I tried to protest, my mother-in-law kicked my leg under the table where no one could see. Yes, that's right. Thank you for always being so kind to my mom, Jimmy would say, his smile radiant. Despite the falsehood, I couldn't hide my shock at my mother-in-law's brazen behavior. Jimmy never noticed the harassment. He believed that my relationship with his mother was good. Jimmy cared deeply for his mother, especially after his father passed away. I couldn't bring myself to speak ill of her to Jimmy, who loved her so dearly. I had never found the courage to discuss it with him. My fondness for my mother-in-law was another reason why I couldn't confide in anyone. When it was decided that we would move in with my in-laws, Karen exclaimed, "Yay, I get to live with Grandma." She was thrilled. Mother-in-law adored Karen. They played together, took baths together. They were very close. Mother-in-law's harassment toward me escalated with each passing day. When I returned from shopping one afternoon, the room was in disarray. Mother-in-law, what happened? Why is everything so scattered? I asked, taken aback. She smirked. I couldn't find something, and before I knew it, it turned into a mess. I knew the house wouldn't be turned upside down just from searching for something. It was clearly her way of tormenting me. Sorry, I'm heading out to dinner with friends now. Cleaning up is on you. As expected, I ended up cleaning while mother-in-law left the house. It took me the entire day, leaving no time for other chores. When she returned later, she criticized me sharply. Laundry, dishes, cleaning, none of it's done. What have you been doing all day? Suppressing my anger at her blatant disrespect, I continued quietly with the housework. Hurry up, or everyone will be home soon. If Jimmy sees how incapable you are, he might just leave you. Mother-in-law never lifted a finger to help. Instead, she incessantly criticized and rushed me. My anxiety mounted as dinner time approached, and I struggled to get everything ready. In the end, dinner was served late. What? Dinner's not ready yet? I'm sorry, it'll be ready soon. Just a little longer. Jimmy looked concerned. Are you feeling all right? No, nothing serious, but I hesitated to explain why dinner was delayed when I caught my mother-in-law glaring at me, a silent warning not to say anything. It's been a hectic day today. Oh, I understand. Don't worry about it. Mother-in-law seemed intent on portraying me as incapable, hoping Jimmy would become frustrated enough to consider divorce. But Jimmy's kindness prevailed. Instead of blaming me, he expressed concern. Mother-in-law didn't take this well, and her daily harassment intensified. Lately, it wasn't just directed at me. She had started interfering in Karen's affairs as well. You two seem set on getting Karen into a private middle school. Yes, that's our plan. Is there a problem with that? It's cruel to keep her up studying late every night for exams. You need to stop it right now. We're not going to stop just because you say so. Karen herself wants to attend a private middle school. We're not forcing her against her will. Kids should just play and enjoy themselves. There's no need to push them into studying now. But putting in effort now will give Karen more opportunities in the future, and she wants this. You're not doing this for Karen. You're forcing it on her, aren't you? That's not true. Lately, as Karen has been studying at night and attending tutoring sessions, our family time has decreased, and mother-in-law seemed unhappy about it. Just give up on the middle school exams. It's a waste of time. I struggled to contain my anger at her dismissive command. I seethed with frustration at mother-in-law's disregard for Karen's wishes and her self-serving remarks. Isn't it normal to support Karen when she wants to do this? What? How dare you talk back? Mother-in-law was taken aback. I had never confronted her like this before. Karen's exams have nothing to do with you, mother-in-law. What do you mean, nothing to do? I'm her grandmother. Sensing that arguing would lead nowhere, I decided to leave, saying, enough of this. I'm going to pick up Karen. Mother-in-law persisted in her harassment in front of Jimmy and Karen, unable to let go of my defiance. Today's dinner looks plain. Is this all we have? I guess she must have been seething with anger. You can't even think about feeding a growing child. I'm sorry. Finally, Jimmy couldn't stay silent any longer and snapped at his mother. Come on, Mom, don't criticize the meal Layla made. Jimmy's anger flared, catching mother-in-law off guard. She quickly backpedaled. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not what I meant. Not wanting to escalate things, I brushed it off with, it's okay. After dinner, as I washed the dishes, mother-in-law approached and muttered, remember this, before retreating to her room. From then on, fear gripped me daily, uncertain of what she might do next. Then, one significant day. It was the day of Karen's acceptance announcement. Nervously, we gathered at the venue. When we checked the bulletin board, Karen's number was prominently displayed. You did it, Karen. Congratulations, you got accepted. Yay! We all celebrated joyously. Karen had studied tirelessly for months, and her hard work had paid off with her passing the middle school entrance exams. We should celebrate today. Yes, Karen. What would you like for dinner? Steak, my absolute favorite. Shall we order delivery then? Hooray. On my way home, I called the steakhouse to order a luxurious steak for delivery. We also decided to pick up a cake, so I made a quick stop, asking my mother-in-law to accept the steak delivery at home. When I called mother-in-law, she assured me, I'll take care of it. Due to a few delays, we arrived home well past lunchtime. I'm starving. I want to eat the steak now. You're right. We're late. The steak should have arrived by now, so let's eat plenty. Upon arriving home, we ran into mother-in-law's friends just as they were leaving. They all chorused, thanks for the meal, and departed, leaving me perplexed. A sense of unease gripped me, and I hurried into the house. The steak delivery was all messed up on the table. Mother-in-law, did you eat the steak? It was a delivery steak. I enjoyed it with my friends at a luncheon. You'll reimburse me later. What were you thinking? I raised my voice at mother-in-law, and she retorted, you were probably planning to order delivery and neglect your chores. I won't allow that. We ordered that to celebrate Karen's success. Karen's celebration was a success. I had informed mother-in-law beforehand about Karen's exam acceptance announcement today. It seems she forgot because she wasn't paying attention. Karen and Jimmy heard us arguing in the hallway. Karen had overheard our exchange and was in tears. Grandma saw me. Karen had eagerly wanted to share the news with Grandma, but realizing she had forgotten the acceptance announcement day, it was understandable why Karen was in tears. Mom, today was Karen's middle school acceptance announcement. How could you forget such an important day? That's terrible. Mother-in-law seemed visibly flustered. What, today, Layla? Why did he remind me earlier? I did remind you. I was too preoccupied to even be upset. Karen worked hard and got accepted. We planned to celebrate with her favorite steak. To think you ate it with your friends. I can't believe it. No, it wasn't like that. I genuinely didn't know. You didn't know? Didn't I call you about the delivery? Mom, did you eat it intentionally? Intentionally. Mother-in-law's face grew paler, and she started to sweat. She struggled to find an excuse, but appeared at a loss for words. I've had my suspicions for a while now, but you've really been harassing Layla, haven't you? It seemed Jimmy had a sense of what was going on, since I hadn't discussed it with him. He had been observing quietly. Suddenly, mother-in-law approached Karen and said, I'm sorry. Let's all go to the steakhouse. My treat. Karen replied, I hate Grandma, pushed mother-in-law away, and ran to her room. The shock of being rejected by her beloved granddaughter seemed to overwhelm mother-in-law, who sat frozen on the floor. Afterwards, I confided everything to Jimmy about mother-in-law's harassment towards me. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I couldn't bear the thought of it affecting you and Karen. I'm sorry for not noticing earlier. You don't have to endure this anymore. Jimmy suggested that we move to ensure I wouldn't be harassed anymore. Since Karen also expressed her desire not to live with mother-in-law anymore, we were able to leave the house without any further concerns. Thank you. On moving day, as I packed my belongings, mother-in-law entered the room. Are you really going to leave? Mother-in-law's face seemed on the verge of tears. Yes, you must be relieved to see me go, since you seem to dislike me so much. I don't exactly dislike you. Could you please leave? You're in the way of my packing. Trying to usher mother-in-law out, she suddenly began pleading. Please don't leave. I'll apologize for everything. I can't bear to be apart from Karen. Karen doesn't want to live with you either. No matter how much I explained, mother-in-law refused to let go, clinging and in tears. So I proposed a solution. Actually, we're moving to my parents' house. If you really can't bear to be apart from Karen, would you like to come with us? Latter. My father can be quite stern, with a rather intimidating face. I said it with a hint of malice, assuming she wouldn't agree, but to my surprise, I understand. That's okay with me. I was taken aback by her agreement. It seemed mother-in-law was desperate to stay close to Karen, knowing she wouldn't dare harass me in front of my parents, and if she did, I could always report it to my father. I agreed to live together. Jimmy added, I'm sorry if there are any issues with my mom coming along. Don't hesitate to ask her to leave. And so we all moved to my parents' house, and the cohabitation began. My father didn't seem pleased that mother-in-law had joined us. He was aware of how she had mistreated me and dampened Karen's celebration. While he didn't openly blame her, his silent disapproval made mother-in-law withdraw. She spoke less and seemed subdued. When either I or my mother asked for help with housework, she readily complied and worked hard. I couldn't help but chuckle at her transformed demeanor. Life continued without incident for a while, but eventually mother-in-law reached her breaking point and exclaimed, I've had enough of this house. My father can be intimidating, and Karen still hasn't warmed up to him. Jimmy's demeanor towards mother-in-law had grown colder, unable to tolerate various things any longer. Karen, let's go home together. Mother-in-law tried to forcefully pull Karen, who resisted, insisting they leave. Mother-in-law, stop it. Can't you see Karen doesn't want to go? It's better for her to be with me than in this house. Just then, my father arrived. What's going on? Stop this immediately. Startled by my father's sternness, mother-in-law froze in fear. I allowed you to live with us because you said you couldn't bear to be away from your granddaughter. But if you try to take Karen against her will, I will call the police for kidnapping. I didn't mean it that way. Hearing my father's shout, Jimmy rushed over as well. Mom, what are you doing? Just go. We can't deal with this anymore. I'm cutting ties completely. No, I can't believe this. Karen shook off mother-in-law's hand and yelled, Leave. Even mother-in-law appeared stunned, her shoulders drooping as she left the house in tears. Now she's back in her own home, leading a solitary life. Since then, mother-in-law has become withdrawn, and it seems even neighbors and friends have started keeping their distance. Meanwhile, our family enjoys peaceful days. Karen diligently studies at her private school, and Jimmy has grown close to my parents, particularly my father, who he joins for drinks every day. I wish I had spoken to Jimmy sooner and moved to my parents' house.